Now we're going to take a look at Roman numerals, and we might be more familiar with Roman numerals, but often we are lacking in our upper Roman numerals. I know that I have our basic ones, but as soon as you go past 10, I kind of forget, and there's quite a bit more, I believe, than past M. But this is as far as we're going to be going in this lesson. And so the way that they go here is very similar to the Egyptians, where they're breaking into expanded notation, where we're actually writing out 500, 100, and actually putting out their individual parts. So the way that this goes is we've got D, C, L, X, X, V, and then 3 ones. And so you can see this working out. You've got basically 500, another 100, 50, 2 tens, 5, and 3 ones is how we would be writing that in expanded form, and then you actually add up all the parts and getting our 678 for counting. And so the way that they deal with numbers is they use the subtraction principle, and if you see something where there's a numeral less than the value to the right of it, you're supposed to subtract. So the V represents 5, and then the I represents 1, so you're supposed to do 5 minus 1, so this represents 4. And so the way that I remember is that this means it's the 1 before 5, so that's 4. If there was 2 marks, it'd be 2 before 5, so it'd be 3. And here the IX represents 1 before 10, so it's 10 minus 1, which is 9, and so on down the list here. Okay, so we're going to convert this guy into Hindu Arabic notation, and so we want to look at MC, MXL, 3, and, sorry, let me click on that. And so what we're taking a look at here is that the M is bigger than the C. So that means we definitely have 1,000. And then the C is smaller than this M. So it's kind of weird because we just dealt with M, and then all of a sudden we've got CM. Well, that's because this is a number itself. So if we broke it up into parts, this is 1,000, and then this CM represents another number. What it represents is 100 away from 1,000. So that means that second number is 900. So it's 100 before 1,000. So they're saying there's 1,000, and then there's 100 before 1,000. So that's its own quantity. And then we take a look at the X, and if we pay attention to the number right next to it, it's an L, so we've got a smaller number next to a bigger number. So what that means is this is actually representing its own separate number together. So anytime you have a smaller numeral next to a bigger one, it means I need to deal with both of these together. So what it's saying is you've got this quantity, which is 10 less than 50. So in other words, we're adding 40. And then at the end we have 3 ones, so we say plus 3. So we've got 1,943 is what that number would convert to from Roman numerals to Hindu Arabic notation. So I hope that you're following what I'm saying here, where you're looking at, if I see a C, I got to look to the number next to it. So before I say, oh, that's 100, I've got to be paying attention to the fact that it's right next to an M, so it's 100 before you would have gotten to 1,000, which means it represents 900. All right. So now we're going to go the other way and actually write a number like 492 into our Roman numerals. So here we've got 400, which can be represented with 4 C's, or that doesn't work out very well because it's right less than the D. So what we're going to do is say that I want a C, and I would have written out 4 of them, but I want to say C before D. In other words, I've got 100 less than 500. It's 1 short of 500. So we would say CD, that represents the 4. And then 90 is, I could have to write out 9 X's, or the easier way is saying it's 110 before I would have gotten to 100. So I want to say XC, and that represents the 90. And then I would put 2 I's to represent the extra 2. So this is our 492. And now we're going to get into our Chinese number system, so another ancient culture. And here, the way that their symbols go, and you might want to take a screenshot of these, is that they've got all these different marks, or they call them characters, and 5,000 represents as, represents as the 5, see the 5 symbol here, and then thousands. So very similar, it goes how it reads. So this number, if it's smaller, you're saying you have 5 of this next number, so it's 5,000s. Okay, and so if we're to express numbers like this one into our Hindu Arabic notation, we need to go through and read each one. So we go over here and look for the shape that looks kind of like an H, and it's the 9. So you can see that it's 9, and then there's this symbol next to it. So you're saying you have 900s. And then next to it, you've got a 4. This symbol right here is 4. 4, and then the plus sign looking shape is tens. So you've got 4 tens, in other words, 40. And then you've got this mark over here, which is 2. Okay, so that's going to be 900s. 4 times 10 is 40, and then 2. So our final answer is 942. So we want to go the other way and actually write out 3,542 in the Chinese notation. So we need to say we've got 3,000. So we're looking for 3, this shape right here, 3, and then we put it next to thousands. So we write it like this. And then we need 500s. So we say we've got to use the shape here, 5, and then hundreds. So 5 hundreds. And then we've got to write our 4 tens. So you come over here and you look at the shape, you need 4 of the tens. So it's very similar to the way that you write it, or the way that we would actually read it in expanded notation, the way that we actually understand the number. When we say 3,000, you've got 3 thousands, 5 hundreds, 4 tens for 40, and then 2 is just that shape right there. Okay, and then if this was all next to each other, that would be the actual number that we're looking for Chinese notation. And that's all I've got for you for this section. I hope you do well. If you have any questions, email me through the Ask My Instructor feature at the lab.